Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Chaf Bet Amud Bet. We're starting 17 lines up from the last of the narrow lines on the Amud, and the questions that go with this are the questions on sheet number 10, which I'm also sending to you. Gufa. Gufa literally means the thing itself. It refers back to a text that was previously mentioned. We saw this story before. Rav ikla Bavel b'Tani Tzibor, Kam Kara B'Sifra. Rav went to Bavel on a public fast day. He got up and read from the Torah. Patach barich, chatam v'lo barich. We've seen this already. He made a bracha at the beginning and not at the end. Nafal kole alma al anpaihu. Everyone there, the whole congregation, they fell on their faces. They fell on the ground on their faces, meaning to recite Tachnun. Rav lo nafal al anpai, but Rav did not fall on his face. And the Gemara wants to know, my tama Rav lo nafil al ape. Why did he not fall on his face? Read special avanim haita, because it was a stone floor. Betanya, and we learned in a Braita, the Evan mashchit lo titnu ba'artechem lehishtachavot aleha. There we have this pasuk from Vayikra that you should not have, you shouldn't in your land have a stone floor to fall upon, that you prostrate yourself on. So on it you shouldn't bow down, in your land. But you can bow down on the stones of the Beit HaMikdash. So meaning that's the only place, those are the only stones on which you can bow down. So Rav was following that opinion, and he wasn't going to bow down, prostrate himself on the stone floor. Kidzu'ula, like that which Ula said. De'amar Ula. Lo asra Torah el ritzpasha avanim bilvad. The Torah only forbade us from bowing down on a stone floor. Other floors are fine, but just not a stone floor. Ihachi, my area Rav. So if that's true, then why are we talking specifically about Rav? Meaning, what about everybody else? My area Rav, sorry, that's a question. I feel kulhu nami. Also the rest of them, meaning no one should have bowed down if it was a stone floor. It's not a special halacha for Rav. So this is the question that the Gemara wants to answer. Why did specifically Rav not bow down? So the first question was just generally, why not Rav? And we said, well, because it was a stone floor. But now our second question, our follow-up question is, why just Rav? Why did the rest of them bow down? So here's one answer. Kamei de Rav Havai. The stone floor was specifically in front of Rav, meaning wherever the congregation was standing, there was another kind of floor, but where he was, it was a stone floor. So, V'liza lagabe tzibora v'lim pol ape. Okay, so if that's the case, then why did he not just go to where the rest of the tzibor was standing and prostrate himself? That would be an easy fix. And the Gemara says, Lo ba'ila mitrach tzibora. He didn't want to trouble the congregation. He didn't want to burden the congregation. So Rashi explains, Lo ba'ila mitrach tzibora, she'im yalach ya'amdu mipanav. Because if he were to go there, they would have to all stand up out of kavod for him, and he didn't want to bother them in that way. So, yes, only he had the stone floor, they didn't have the stone floor. That's a solution to why he didn't bow down and the rest of them did, and he had a good reason for not going where they were standing. The ibayirima, and if you want to, you could say, here's an alternative answer, Rav pishu yadayim v'raglayim hava avi. Rav used to do pishu yadayim v'raglayim. He would prostrate himself completely. He would spread out his arms and legs when he said Tachnun, u'ked'ula, and in accordance with Ula, de'amar Ula, for Ula said, Lo asra Torah el pishu yadayim v'raglayim bilvad. The Torah only made prohibited arms and legs spread out, meaning that's the only kind of bowing that's prohibited on a stone floor. So the rest of the congregation who weren't doing this pishu yadayim v'raglayim, they were just doing regular bowing. They weren't spreading out, sort of lying flat on the floor. They were allowed to do it on the stone floor. But Rav, because he does pishu yadayim v'raglayim, he couldn't do it on the stone floor, and that solves why he couldn't bow down, but the rest of them could. Now the Gemara objects to this also. V'li pala ape. So let him just fall on his face, meaning, okay, so for this one time, he wouldn't do pishu yadayim v'raglayim. V'lo le'avid pishu yadayim v'raglayim, right? He could at least do what they're doing. He could, bow in this partial bowing way. And the Gemara says, Lo mishani minhage. No, he doesn't. He didn't want to change from his minhagim. His normal custom was to do this full prostration, and if he couldn't do it, then he wasn't gonna bow at all. So that's yet another answer to why the rest of the tzibur bowed down and he didn't, because they were just falling on their faces, which is permitted on a stone floor, but he wanted to fully prostrate himself, which is forbidden on a stone floor. V'ibayit ema, and here's an alternative answer. Adam chashuv shani. An important person is different, his status is different. And we'll explain what that means in a minute. Ukid Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Elazar, Ein Adam chashuv rashai lipol al panav, el im ken na'ana ki Yoshua ben Nun. An important person, a truly important person, is not allowed to fall down on their face, meaning say tachnun, unless this person is so confident that they know they'll be answered like Yehoshua. Elim ken na'ana, unless they're answered like Yehoshua. Rashi explains, Elim ken na'ana, klomar, elim ken batuach b'ma'asav, shehu na'ana b'tfilato. Unless this person is totally confident of their actions, that they'll be answered in their tefillah. Otherwise, they shouldn't say tachnun, or maybe at least shouldn't say tachnun in public, because it's sort of embarrassing if they don't get answered. Tichtiv, as we find with Yehoshua, Vayomer Hashem el Yehoshua, kum lech. So this is the pasuk from Yehoshua, that God says to Yehoshua, get up. The rest of the pasuk is Lama zeh nofel panecha, why are you falling on your face? Meaning the Jews were defeated in battle, and Yehoshua prayed to God, and God says, get up, get up, I'm going to take care of things. But we learn from the fact that God told him to get up that important people shouldn't fall on their faces. So this is another answer to the question of why Rav did not fall on his face when the rest of the congregation did. Maybe important people are not supposed to do that. Tanu Rabbanan, we have a brayta. Keda al apayim. This word keda, which is like a partial bowing, a form of bowing, means just bowing onto your face. And the proof text is Vatikod bat sheva apayim aretz, that you bow down, or it's about Bathsheba, she bowed down with her face to the ground. So you put your face on the ground. So you bow all the way, but you don't sort of bow the rest of your body. It's just your face goes down to the ground, like a bow from your back only. Kriya al birkayim. The word kriya means you're bowing sort of onto your knees. And the proof text for that is V'chen hu omer michroa al birkav. This pasuk from Malachim, which I believe is talking about Shlomo, that's a form of bowing. Bowing, kind of bending at the knee, kneeling down on your knees. Hishtachava zo pishut yadayim v'raglayim. And the word hishtachava is a fuller form of bowing, where you completely prostrate yourself, spread out your hands and legs. Shene Amar, as it says, Havon avo ani ve'imcha ve'achicha lishtachavot lecha arta. This is Yaakov talking to Yosef, right, after Yosef tells about his dream. Are we going to come to prostrate ourselves before you? So that's the proof that Hishachava is full prostration. Okay, that was a brayta. Now we have a little story to back all this up. Levi achve kira kame de Rebbe. Ve'itla. Levi, another rabbinic figure, he bowed down. He did this kidah bowing. He sort of demonstrated it, gestured with it. He showed him what it was. He wanted to show Rebbe what it was. Ve'itla. And he hurt himself. He became lame because of it. Meaning he hurt himself in the kidah process. And Rashi explains that when you do this kind of bowing, you put your face down to the ground, and the only thing supporting the weight of your body is you're allowed to put your thumbs down on the ground, but you're not allowed to use your hands to support you, so it's easy to kind of dislocate something because you're just putting your face on the floor. The Haka Garmale, is this actually what caused Levi to become lame? V'ha'amar Rabbi Elazar, but don't we have a statement by Rabbi Elazar? La'olam al yatiach adam dvarim klape mala. A person shouldn't literally throw things, hurl words towards God, like shouldn't sort of complain about things inappropriately to God. Shaharei adam gadol hitiach dvarim klape mala v'itla, because there was a great person who did this, who hurled words towards God, complained to God vigorously, and that person became lame. Umanu, and who was that person? Levi. So now we have conflicting reports. Did Levi become lame because he did this kiddah kind of bowing before Rebbe and became lame in the process, or did he become lame because he did this thing he shouldn't have done? Hitiach dvarim klape mala. Which is it? So the Gemara is going to answer, Havaha garmale. This and this caused it. They both caused it. Amar Rav Chia bar Avin. So in other words, both of these were causes. Before we get to Chia bar Avin, I'll put the period there. And Rashi explains, Havaha garme. Both of these caused it. Because he did this bad thing of complaining vigorously to God, he was injured at a moment of danger. Meaning, if you're badly behaved, you kind of open yourself up to punishment. And so in that moment where he performed this kind of dangerous acrobatic move of bowing, that's when God kind of got him back for doing that and caused him to become lame. So both were causes of the fact that Levi became lame. Last statement, Amar of Chia bar Avin. Chia bar Avin said, Chazina lehu la'abaye v'rava d'matzle atzluye. I have seen, Rav Chia bar Avin is reporting, I've seen Abaye and Rava. I saw them, matzle, we've had this word before, praying, but the implication here is leaning on their sides to pray, meaning leaning on their sides to say Tachnun. They didn't bow down. Rashi says, Al tidehen, they sort of leaned on their sides, v'lo noflin al pneihen, and they didn't actually, v'lo noflin al pneihen mamash, they didn't actually fall all the way on their faces, because an important person is not allowed to fall on their faces. Of course, nowadays, when there's not full prostration for Tachnun, everyone's allowed to say it. You just kind of lean your head on your hands. But Abaye and Rava would not do sort of full prostration because important people don't do that. They would kind of lean on their sides to do this bowing. Okay, again, the questions to answer are the questions on sheet number 10. And this is an assignment due for tomorrow.